What's up, guys? My name is Eric. This is a ZF6 HP 21 out of a BMW 335. Today I'm going to be showing you how to diagnose your transmission failure and hopefully get down to the root cause of it a little bit quicker. While you're at it, also join my Facebook group called ZF6 Diagnosis and Repair. Typically, when you have a failure on one of these, the first thing you're going to do is drain out the fluid, drop the pan, and pull out the valve body. Do the solenoids, maybe a zip kit, and also replace these 4 sleeve seals and the bridge seal. In some cases, servicing the valve body is all it takes to get this thing working properly, but it's usually most common that the cause of your failure is some sort of internal wear inside of the transmission. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to check for that. What you're going to need is a little air compressor. A lot of people have these just lying around. I have this one set at about 40 psi. 30 to 40 should do. And then I also have a Harbor Freight compressed air nozzle with the rubber tip. This was, I think, $12 at Harbor Freight. So really cheap stuff. Simply put, the way this transmission works is it takes pressurized oil from the pump. The valve body then routes that pressurized oil through these passages, which engages the internal clutches, which there's 5 of. That's A, B, C, D, and E. The most common failure on these transmissions is the E clutch, which is the overdrive clutch. A simple way you can think about this is imagine you have 3 clutches, one for first gear, one for second gear, and one for third gear. When the E clutch engages, that overdrive clutch, that 1, 2, and 3 becomes 4, 5, and 6 because it acts as a multiplier. When the E clutch fails, it'll manifest itself as slipping, especially between 3 and 4, but also 4 and 5 and 5 and 6. And then as it progressively gets worse on that upshift, your transmission might start to go into neutral and then limp mode and give you a transmission fault. Once we have our valve body removed and we're looking at these passages, on the left-hand side of the vehicle, we're going to have our C clutch. The middle 2 are going to operate the D clutch, and then the one on the right-hand side is going to operate the B clutch. Then, looking up here to the right of the bridge seal, this is the front of the transmission. On top, we're going to have the A right here, and on the bottom, we're going to have the E clutch. So when we test this with air, what we're going to want to listen for is the clutch engaging and not a lot of air leakage. And then once we remove the nozzle, we should hear a pressure release. Now, checking these 4, usually these 4 are not a problem, and it can be tricky with these rubber seals in here, but checking the A and E is really important. Let's check the A clutch first for reference. I'm going to put the nozzle on there, give it some air. So right away, we're hearing the clutch engage, that little clunk. And then also, when we remove the nozzle, there's going to be a pressure release. So what that tells us is the A clutch circuit is holding pressure, which means that clutch can properly engage. Now, let's listen to the E clutch. So right away, we can hear air leaking on the inside of the transmission internals. And there's also not going to be any pressure release because we can't build pressure in the circuit. Nothing. Now if we go to the A, back to the A, hear that pressure, E, nothing. It's not building any pressure. So when you try to shift from 3 to 4 and you get that slipping, that's because the valve body is pumping oil into the E clutch circuit and it's not building pressure to engage the clutches. If your E clutch sounds like mine, then it is almost certain that your E clutch bushing is shot and your transmission will be requiring a rebuild. Hopefully this video helps. Please let me know in the comments if it does. And if you want to see some more videos on this transmission, please let me know.